Hi, this is Stacia, and today we're doing a tactics puzzle. So this is from Tactics Trainer on chess.com. It's white to move, and there's one winning move here. So if you'd like to pause your video and see if you can find the solution, go ahead and do so now. Okay, so let's analyze this together. Whenever you're looking at a puzzle like this, you should definitely check on the most forcing moves: checks, captures, and tempo moves. So if we start with our checks, we'll see that there are a few. Basically, the queen can check on e4, e3, or e2. So basically, anywhere in the e file. And those are interesting moves. What about captures? Well, we have this capture, but I quickly ruled this one out. After king takes or queen takes, I don't really see a follow-up there. So that just looks like a silly queen sacrifice for no reason. um, and tempo moves. Well, there is one, actually two interesting ones. One tempo move is this. So the pawn could move forward and attack the rook. Now, the reason I find this move interesting is because then we're threatening to go here. So this pawn is a passed pawn. So I think anytime there's a passed pawn in the position, you should look at what happens if it moves forward. So we also have this move. So I would actually include this move on the list of candidate moves, c7. Although in this case, I think after queen takes, I don't see too much. But it's something to keep on our radar. Maybe further down the line we can throw that in. Okay, so let's look at what happens if we start with a check. So I was thinking that if we go here, maybe black can just simply block with the queen. I mean, it is kind of nice that if the king were to move, this square and this square are unavailable, so he would be forced to the back rank. And just intuitively, I think that's bad for black. So I would think he needs to block like this. And mind you that if there's a queen trade, well, I'm not totally sure. I was going to say it's better for black, but given that we have these two pass pawns, maybe it isn't a good idea. But still, it's hard to find a follow-up here. I guess we have this check, but I suppose, and I guess I'll use the engine's help so you guys don't have to deal with me thinking. Yeah, the engine gives king e8. And we do have to be careful because black has their own threats, like checkmate. So we would probably have to go queen e4, pinning the queen. Yeah, I don't know. So this clearly isn't the answer. Okay. So I don't think that check is so good. And I was looking at this one as not being that great either, but this one's pretty interesting, right? Because if we check here, we're actually attacking this pawn. And this is lined up on the 7th rank. So out of the checks, I found queen e3 check to be the most interesting. And I still thought they should block here. And we could take, and I thought king f8 is probably forced because we are basically skewering here. So the king must defend the rook. So I thought king f8. This also attacks the queen, which is kind of nice for black. Maybe we could go here, check the king again. And I got this far in my analysis and I was like, well, it seems unclear. Maybe there's something better. So let's go back. And that's when I started to think more carefully about the move h6. And so once you analyze this move, and by the way, I would analyze this move before looking at the checks just for move order reasons. Like a lot of times the move order matters a lot in these chess problems. So like, okay, maybe we like this move, queen e3 check, but what if we just throw this move in first? What happens, right? So that's kind of what I was thinking. And then when you see the move h6, you realize that the rook doesn't have a lot of good moves. Like, for example, we're threatening to go here and here. So I think the rook has to try to stop the pawn. And I was thinking, if rook here, well, now this check's better because it's a fork. So I don't think that move is possible. Let's try that. Yeah, queen e4 check wins. It's a fork. So, okay, if you can't go there, what about this move attacking the pawn? And then if the pawn moves, at least there'd be a check and win it that way. But here, I think we still have the same queen e4 check. Look, it's forking again. So black just can't get out of this. So that's what really tipped me off that h6 is strong, is because the rook's most natural moves don't work. And I think the only other move to consider is this one. Mind you that the bishop's also guarding here and here, so you can't go there. And okay, after rook g5, he is attacking the bishop. So, you know, we would have to look at this move. h7, bishop takes, and then I guess we queen, but the rook would actually pin the queen to the king. So I saw this line. But that's when I saw that, well, let's see, h7. I thought after rook takes, we could queen here, and we actually could check the king now, and again, we're forking. So this also doesn't work, and well, that's totally winning. So after h7, the best move for black is queen takes. So I'll admit to you right now that during the tactics puzzle, I got this far, I played these moves, and then when the queen took, I was like, oh, I forgot to analyze that. And maybe a lot of you, now probably not a lot of you, some of you are probably impatient with me during these puzzles, but it's very important to thoroughly analyze in chess. Like, mistakes are made and you miss moves when you look at one move, but you miss this. Like, I looked at rook takes, found the refutation, played h7, and then the computer played queen takes. So my mistake was that after I looked at rook takes and did that line, I should have went back and said, hey, what's another move? Because queen takes is important. Okay, black is threatening to take my queen with check. So if I queen right now, you know, that would be horrible. So now I'm lost. I'm gonna get mated. All right, so there's queen takes, but then here there is an easy move. You can actually now take the queen. All right, and black should probably take back, so they're not down a queen, but now we queen, and we're up material now. We still have this passed pawn, and yeah, I don't think the rook checking would do anything really. He could try this, I guess, but I would just move. Maybe just king g4. Yeah. So, okay, so it looks like h6 is the move. So let's go through that again. h6. Remember the king or the rook cannot go here because of queen e4 check. And he cannot go here because of queen e4 check. So therefore, rook g5 is needed. But this is a scary move for black just because how do you stop him? And this is always a threat too in the position. So, okay, in this position we could check again, but the best move is h7. Push forward, allow this capture because it doesn't work. we would simply queen, rook here, and play queen h7 check, so that doesn't work. So therefore queen takes, but this one's kind of easier to refute because we can just capture the queen. So a simple trade will do the trick. And now we've won material and the game. So I hope you enjoyed this puzzle with me and analyzing it, and I'll be back with more. See you later.